and what I don't know what classifies as a parking spot and what doesn't, but I see tire tracks here. So we're gonna park it. What up, everybody? It's me, your favorite homeless guy, and we're out here on the spiritual front lines, fighting to make a difference, so that nobody has to go through what Casey went through ever again. I remember everything that all of you have ever done to me, and so does God. Speaking of God, welcome to the only place that let me charge my device when the business was closed. This is where I crashed on my bike. That's the hillside right there. Doesn't look as menacing because of the phone camera, but that's about a 10 feet drop. And I almost hit that cement barricade. So, God has been saying, don't come today, go tomorrow. But I was in this neck of the woods. And I figured, why not let them see me in all my glory? Hey.
How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
I finally got a car. Ready?
Good. So you're not like sleeping in the woods.
With the cabin until he wouldn't let me anymore. So there's the big stuff with the property owner. Trying to get me off, sending the police, and then be like, we'll send as many cop cars as it takes. And I was like, do you mind letting me put my stuff in your truck so that you can take me down the road? And they wouldn't do that. So I was like, you'll send 5 trucks, but you won't let me put my stuff on the trucks. You'll haul me off, but you won't let me
take things.
Yeah. So I stayed there. Where I'm at is like, I know I had just volunteered at the 33rd Celtic Music Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really good, and I was really excited to go back to the cabin because I felt like I won. I performed for everybody and did that stuff. So I was like, now I can retreat to the cabin in the wilderness and make it better and make it nice. And then when I got there, tons of signs, everybody saying you can't be here. So I was like, that seems like an obvious hit because I had something great happen. So if it is an enemy or a devil or something mad at my ascension or happiness. So part of it was that I wanted to let's see how long it takes before what happens, because maybe the property owner will show up screaming and I can just be chill, and then he'll realize, oh crap, I was maybe possessed, maybe demonically influenced, but really just like stuck down the wrong road. And then I can say, it's chill, I've been trying to call you for 2 years, I'm trying to make this place better, because when I got there was a huge mountain of trash. So I was going to pay him to remove all the trash, just to keep it as beautiful as it is. I really like your painting of all the nature there.
It was a gift from one of my sisters, and my friend Linda did all of it. It was a Christmas gift.
Okay. So there wasn't a service in there, but she'll get back to me Friday. She said that she had no idea about the crash, which made me feel better because I was really hurt. I was worried that I was going to go in there and it was going to be negative, which is why really I was recording if they were like something had changed. And I was also just looking for to see just to show you that people that are religious understand completely what I'm saying. Every single crazy thing that I had just said to you guys that everyone screamed at me I was crazy about, I just talked to a bunch of Catholics and they were like, yeah, that's our everyday life. It's completely normal. And it's crazy how these guys are like, America's the most, these hateful people are proud Christians, but the things I say are crazy. So just as a thank you, I'm gonna go sometime. She's gonna get back to me Friday. On Friday I will I'm gonna pick up like 20 to 30 cans of ravioli, because the Knights of Columbus, or the KC, is doing a food fight where they're getting a bunch of canned goods. So she's gonna get back to me Friday. I don't have a relationship with that gospel church. I know the martial arts program at night, but he don't want no personal lessons, because he says people that he gave because he's really good at what he does. He said people. Hold on. He said people that he gave private lessons to in the past. I have to put my seatbelt on. Used it for the wrong reasons. They like took his teachings and like beat the fuck out of a lot of people. Were like instigating fights and using what he taught them on it. So, and when I went there to the group program, everybody talked a lot of shit about me, even though I punched way harder than all of them with my retard strength. They just kept trying to prove they were better than me, and I was sitting there like just sitting in the chair like a throne, and they're all hovering around me, sneak dissing me, standing next to me. I was like, I could be a reincarnated sensei that just doesn't remember. You know, fighting comes this naturally to me. Y'all are crazy. You guys are the bitches. But I didn't say it, I thought it. Because I wanted to see how far they'd go, and I wanted to see if the girls who could feel my energy, you know, without trying to, you know, I've suffered enough. I have a sense of empathy that most people don't have. So I was going to see if they would conform to that. And some of them didn't, and like stayed in with me and understood like, wow, these guys are fucking losers. And then some girls were like trying to support those guys, you know, get in with them, like probably because they liked them. And the other girls looked at me like, you know, and one of the older people there were like, yeah, they don't understand. So I haven't gone back to his group, but at some point I'm gonna have to. Speaking of have to, I should call Miss Hafna and see if she's figured out Elan. Well, she'll get back. It'll get back to me Friday. So, chat, I bought a. Is this a shit talker? I can't read your message yet. Are you a little whitey? Are you a little tidy whitey with a bunch of stains on it? A bunch of shit stains in the tidy whitey saying, "Everyone smell me." How come you all don't have shit stains covering you? So, I went and bought a tote, and I bought a trash can, small trash can, and I got 30 cash in case I need it, because I keep losing my wallet in my car, and then it's not all places take tap to pay. So I did get a trash can, I did get a tote for in case I need it. Now I'll have 3 totes, because I had to leave a couple at the campsite. I got a bunch of plywood. They haven't called me yet, so I'm not going to go to Capstone today. I messaged my boss and told her about like the plans to getting rid of all this ice covering everything. It's supposed to be above 30 in the next couple days. They don't really, even if I ask, they're kind of vague about it. They don't really tell me when they're having shows. I think they just, I don't know. You never know with like people in society. It's like random strands will like over dramatize, and then behind my back they all kind of get together to talk about it, and then all of a sudden there's like a big deal out of something that isn't. And it could be random, and it usually contradicts the first thing they say to me when I'm at, because I've been to several different places and several foster homes and stuff. It's just weird. So we're seeing if anybody's home. It looks like nobody is home. It looks like some of the ice is melted. It's not bad. It doesn't look like anyone else chipped away at it. Check out these blisters. My hands are full of blisters. It hurts, but I don't let it affect me. I'm still gonna do it. It just hurts. But if it's gonna be like, it says it's gonna be 40 degrees for 2 days. And it's gonna be raining. And 40-degree rain means that as long as I'm there to push it into the snow, it's going to be melting the ice for me, which will make it a lot easier and will be a lot cheaper for everybody than if you want me to spend the next 2 days hacking at this ice 6 inches, not even 2 inches from the ice blockade, and then a 2-inch blade at a time. We're gonna go in this way, and they're staring at me like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna have to turn around here. I'm not allowed to go there anymore. I got trespassed. Oh. Bird left to right in front of my car. We're just gonna go up the road and turn around because I did the wrong driveway. Usually there's no car blocking that driveway because it's nighttime, but they're at work, so my driveway was blocked, and you can't turn around on that road. So we're gonna go down the street that's named after my ex-girlfriend, and I got this car from someone with the same first name as my ex-girlfriend. Isn't that a coinky dink? What a coinky dink. What a coinky dink. So I was looking on Parcel Viewer. I'll show you once I turn around. This plot of land I'm gonna show you, some guy bought it like 6 months ago, and there's nothing on it. Maybe I could put my cabin tent there. I can't go there. Ooh, they want to trespass me from a place I don't even want to be. And they're celebrating like it's a fuck you. I'm like, you don't need to tell me not to come here. I don't want to go there. Isn't that so funny? They think it's like such a huge deal that they trespass me. And I'm like, we're on the same side. I don't want to be here either. So I'm looking at this plot of land. This right here, this nothing. Unless we'll go up there. Literally just this hillside somebody bought. Somebody bought that hillside like you can do anything with it. I think he's just sitting on it, hoping it'll grow in value. And if he can't, I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do a spin move. Are the whites back talking shit? You know, Will Survives just addressed you all. Will Survives gave you a lot of shit. He said, why are the whites so mean? But he didn't say whites, but we all know. Will Survives dropped an hour video saying, what is wrong with you guys? Why are you so mean? To someone you don't even know. Alright. So, up here on this hillside, I don't even think this is, I think this is still part, I think he literally, the property is just this steep ass hillside. I don't think anybody can build anything on it. I don't think there's anything you can do with it. So I'm gonna try to reach out to that guy and be like, hey, I'm kind of doing this outdoor survival challenge where I survived for 14 years homeless in a society that wants to kill homeless people, and part of this rebellion is that I have to expose the mental illness in the community by being sort of a target, and that's resulted in I exhausted all my options, and then God blessed me after I fought to the bitter end there. So I'm looking for a cabin tent. I have a cabin tent, I have a bench press, pull up and dip station. I'm looking to just make content in the woods while I work on building this emergency shelter and get in touch with horse ranches and everything. Bird left to right again. how do you feel about me giving you, for the next 3 months, I'll give you $30 a month, I'll give you $100, just to let me be there, knowing I don't cause problems, and let me continue to work out and do all these things. And maybe he'll say yes, and maybe he'll say yes, and then something else pops up, or either way, if I stop trying, then I feel lazy. Because I know I'm not lazy. I've kind of decided that a lot of this hate stems from what my boss had said about taking credit for the suffering and the triumph in that. Where, sort of like the trespassing too, where it's something that I'm already doing, but people feel a need to, like, there's a big meaning behind their insertion, whether positive or negative. I think all this screaming hate, ordering me to do things and trying to beat me into submission in order to do things they haven't even asked if I'm doing. They just assume I'm not. I think it's because deep down they want to feel responsible, and they want it to be like if I were to finally get a job, I think the people that scream get a job, they want to look back, which is why they subscribe. They want to look back and see me get a job, and then they'll be right. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with you, man. You had no real effect other than you made us feel bad about your mental illness, which is funny because shouldn't that be my thing? Shouldn't you guys feel bad about my mental illness? But all we really do is realize, you know, that maybe I'm not that mentally ill after seeing all these commenters. And at least I'm self-aware. People are talking shit about money or something. You can just tell. When I see a white man with sunglasses, I know it's going to be a hate message. I know it's going to be a loser. Should we get rid of Godspeed, guys? Girls ain't feeling you, son. Girls like me. I don't know what to tell you. Piper likes my hair. Thank you. Godspeed has to say he kissed a boy. One time when I was 13, we played Truth or Dare with it was me, Jack, I think it was Ryan, and it was 2 girls I won't name. And they were really good looking, and they rode horses, and they had voluptuous, beautiful bodies, man, and I liked them. And they said that they would only let us see and feel their boobs if Jack and I kissed. And I was like, I'm not making out with him. They said, no, there's a pack, just do it. So and then he did it, and then I socked him in the gut as hard as I could. Because I didn't like it. One time I got drunk with my friend when I was 14, and I was falling off the bed trying to get up. And then I grabbed onto him for like, ugh! And then my arm was around him, and I was uncomfortable. He was fine, but I was uncomfortable. The times that gayness entered my life, not only did I not get anything from it, but I was disgusted by it. I was actually homophobic. And I'm self-aware. I was like, is that a fear that I might be? And it's just, no matter how many mental gymnastics I do to try to get around it, I just actually really don't like gay people. I like Smosh, and I like the gay people on Smosh. It's not a problem I have with them. I think I just don't like, it feels like an invasive species. Like, I have my own peace of mind in the way I want to live life. And when that type of whatever comes into it, I don't feel comfortable. So maybe I'm, because I mean, when I was 15 and I was in the residential program, there was a lot of LGBT people, and I did kind of see them as mentally ill because they had mental illness, but gayness was a part of it, I guess, or a result from trauma. Like, the people that were identifying as LGBTQ had the most trauma of everybody. And they were all younger souls, I'd say, like not Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, like Taurus and Gemini, spring signs, like youthful people. The older ones with trauma were like grizzled and had facial hair by 13. The ones that were really fucked up had like full beards at 13. And I'm pretty sure I think they just had a lot of limiting beliefs around relationships, but I don't think they were gay. And then it wasn't till 19 that I was traumatized and probably brain damaged, and I was kind of trapped in Section 8 with a lot of people that were like that, and that felt like torture, because it felt like I was a fish out of water. I couldn't find people like me, and I was stuck around. Those guys are probably pedos. Like, if they had the opportunity to be a pedo, they would be pedos. So I didn't like that at all. And then the times where I became spiritual and I started understanding more of spirit and the universe and God and everything. And then I learned empathy by being trapped by people that used empathy to like groom and molest people, like sexual predators. That made me really not like gay people. And it made me think for a while that that might be a demon, like Sodom and Gomorrah. But after Smosh and watching like the people in Smosh, and they're all kind of gay, I think everyone in Smosh is kind of gay. I don't like when like they do some gay shit, but like Tommy and Chance are pretty cool. I think they'd be cool people. They make good friends, and they're funny. But it's just something I had to get over. It was more like the universe had eradicated my confidence, and then I felt unable to be myself. And which is funny, because isn't that how gay people feel? It's like is how the tables turned. I was trapped in a way that people were angry at my confident masculine straightness. They felt challenged by me back in the day, and I had to get my needs met, so I would kind of like lower myself to be an animal. Because I used to be a sex addict. I used to cheat on girls all the time. Like, I put everything in my life aside to line up like 6 different girls in a day. And I wouldn't even come because I wanted to get to the next one. That was pretty sick. But I know that my voice, people are like, you know how I talk. It's trauma. Eventually you get tired of the pain. And trauma makes it hard to focus. When you're in survival mode so long, you change so much, then society is able to accept. You can't be an animal. So you kind of, this is just like fragmented leftovers as I'm growing back. But I'm grateful I went through it. The street is called Bitch. After my ex, yeah. It looks cold. It's not that bad. I've been out here -60, man. God is safety net created by humans to deal with their collective chaos. No, there's too much evidence of a divine intelligence at a higher level, and you can't believe that it's indifferent. Something way more intelligent than anything we can comprehend, and we are caring. Of course it's going to be caring, but the way that it cares might be different. then we're ready to accept. But it's not indifference. God is definitely not indifferent, whatever name you call him. There we go. You better bot be creeping around my property. I think I'm getting ready to get rid of Godspeed. Who will give me $30? It's not the money, it's the fact that you're nuts. What about my nuts? You will give you $30. No, we want you off welfare, but you are white. I'm Irish. Irish people weren't white until the 90s when they unionized, and there were so many of them that had built places like Nebraska and Kentucky that the Satanist church founded under King James, the first law passed in America, was giving King James authority over the United States. The Revolutionary War was fake. It wasn't real. Even if the battles were real, at the high level, it was a stage to give us the illusion of freedom. And the first law ever passed in America was in London, giving King James and the Satanist church authority over the United States. What shampoo are you using? None. Yeah. He's just a loser. There's a lot of secret coming out of the closet stories. No, show your vagina, I don't have one. Sounds like you put a lot of thought into it. Well, I was traumatized by it. I was almost raped several times, and, you know, would you consider, like, being kidnapped and locked in a room and the person stands over you pressing their dick to the side of your head, and you have pepper spray in your eyes after and you're left there with no food or blankets and anything for 3 days? That's pretty traumatizing, especially that feeling that it's still there after you're gone and trying to get, you know, how do you live with that? Emasculation rituals. Do you know about Jesus? I know some about Jesus. You sound pretty conflicted, brother. No, I'm just entertaining ideas to try to give you an actual truth here. But I understand that the people that comment on these things aren't very intelligent. Wim Hof method is the way. Well, I'm cold, so not being able to orgasm women coupled with your conflicted feelings about gay fertility, the woman might not be for you. No, I love women. My exes called me recently to tell me how much they miss me. And another ex told me that she has kids now and she's engaged, but she still thinks about my dick all the time. True fact. Was it a white dude who did that to you? It was a cop that did that to me. I couldn't see, you know? When people are like, you know, when I look around and you see that one eye is not going the way that this eye wants to go, that's because I can barely see. I can't really focus after the pepper spray for 3 days in my eyes, and I couldn't get it out. I've been fucked up since, like, barely able to see. Like, I can look out, but when it comes to, like, putting more energy into my eyes, it doesn't really work. And this half of my face just kind of like, after trauma, I just let it go. I just kind of gave up on being present in this half of my face. This side of my body gets attacked a lot. Like, pretty much every year something really bad happens that makes me unable to bring presence to my left side without it hurting. Like this year I had hairline fractures in my shoulder down to my back. Yeah, all cops are bad. All cops are bitch ass pussies slaved to the Saturnian cult. But sometimes Chelsea's pretty cool. Sometimes Taylor's pretty cool. I'd hate to be parked here overnight
and see what happens. You know, maybe after 2 years, they'd be like, hey, I'm sorry, but you got to move. Would they still show me that same sentiment if they just met me? I don't know. Like, a lot of people in town don't like these cops, but I have had no... The only real problem I've had with them is the chief of police put his hand on the guy's shoulder that swung at me and broke my shit out in the tent and threatened me and tried to instigate me into doing something, knowing that it would be my word versus his, and I would have the prejudice and stigma attached to me, so they would take his side. And I didn't do that. But he still put his hand on the guy's shoulder and said, if you want to trespass him, you are well within your rights. In his own words. And the guy, I don't think the guy even knew what trespassing, he paused drunk. And he was like, well, I don't want to get the kid in trouble. And I was like, you are just playing a show. Because everybody's watching. You were trying to get me in trouble the whole time. Because you make a big deal out of everything. Wasn't a big deal. I wasn't bothering anybody. But that guy. Even his bosses. And everyone else in the building said, no, we don't have a problem with you here, man. We know what you're not doing drugs. You're working. It's a shitty situation, man. And we don't care about you being there. But then this guy's freaking the fuck out. For 48 hours, he freaked out. Maybe 24 hours. I didn't see him afterwards. And I still have stuff there I have to get. But how do I get it while I'm trespassed? Maybe you should have given him a hug and caressed his ear. Transsexual butt sex said that. That's some gay shit right there. And I don't like it. But yeah, I wouldn't do that, but maybe if you guys wanted to do that, I bet he would calm down. Maybe he would realize there's something fucking wrong with him. So we'll leave it up to you. If you show up, you can go do that. Need milk spray? I don't know what that means. Gotta go to work soon. That sucks, man. Imagine working. I have to go to work in like an hour or two. But nobody's there, so maybe I don't. Maybe I can wait till tomorrow. Isn't that cool? I said today was supposed to be my rest day. And I was like on the fence, should I go to work? Should I go to work? Nobody showed up today. Why do you think I'm wearing a wig, man? I had to make sure that there wasn't a wrapper on it. People say they like me with short hair, but I don't like it, man. I'm eating gum. Nom 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 nom. Nom nom nom. Gum gum gum. Where you at? What state are you in for the fun of it? Come on, man. Where you at? I'm from California. Where are you? I'm in New England. I'm in New England. Where the colonizers first attacked the natives with their pooping, by pooping in the food, bitch. They fucking shit in the food. And when they got sick, the lobsterbacks could not get them with the musket. It wasn't working. They go, bam, and it flies backwards and blows their friend's head off. And the natives are like, bitch, kills them. So they had to like if we shit in the river, if we shit in a pile together, we know that we have something that makes them sick. So all we have to do is just shit everywhere, and eventually they will get sick from our biological diseases that we built by being cave monkeys. And we will actually get them. And meanwhile, the natives are like, every time they were like, let's sit down and discuss peace, all the natives showed up. And we're like, we're ready. What do you have to say to us? We don't care that you're on the land. We care that you're killing us. We've taught you how to grow corn. We've taught you how to be a part of what we're doing. But you keep freaking out and trying to conquer everything. We're here. Do you want peace? And they're like, yes. Eat this pie. It's our peace pie. And then it's a bunch of diseases. I can't. I'm all farted out. Donation for gas money. I'll go get a burrito. You going to see my tote? Got a tote. Tote, my goat. Given what's happened over the weekend, do you think there's going to be a run on toilet paper and we will have to go back to using socks? Is toilet paper in Venezuela? Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about Venezuela? Venezuela, Consuela? No. Forget about the color of the... Don't forget about the color of the blankets they gave the Indians. I don't know what that means. Indians are now shitting on our streets as revenge for the shit pie. Yeah, I think God is punishing colonizers. Absolutely. You will pay for what your ancestors did. And then there are people like me who are chosen to be sacrificial. And a test where they don't have to suffer for what their ancestors did if they make the right choices in their life. And if they don't, they will. If they know something is wrong and they're hurting something and they continue to hurt it, it will kill it. True story. Mention the blankets, Quickwood. Mention the infected blankets that they would give the Indians so they would get sick from the... Yeah, okay. I didn't know about that, but that I have heard about that before. Native people wear blankets. That's just part of their culture. When you see them at the powwow, they all have their blankets they bring with them, and they put the blankets on the stands and stuff, and that's where their spot is. Their blankets are a part of them, which is really cool that before I knew I was Native, I had that gray fur blanket that I would carry with me everywhere. And when I was little, I needed the blankie, and then I needed to have a rat tail. I needed to grow my... Even if they wanted to cut my hair, I had to keep a little bit of hair in the back. And now I'm like, isn't that crazy? But they used biological warfare to kill the natives who weren't even trying to be at war with them. It was a byproduct. They weren't really upset at the people showing up because their culture was nomadic. They had an agreement with the tribes and everything. They had beefs and stuff. But overall, they were traveling from Canada all the way to South America. All the time. There was nothing wrong with the people here, man. It was just a bunch of inbred cave monkeys on the orders of their slave masters. You guys are so proud to be white, bro, but the Jews have been raising you for thousands of years as select bred cave monkeys. That's why the English, look how weak they are. Look at how weak English people are. They're like brittle. They need to chew wood to stop their teeth from growing. They have tiny hands and peni. They're inbred cave monkey yokels, man. That the Jews selectively bred as a cancer to spread. And you're so proud of that, bro? Why? Because one of your ancestors got raped and now you're white? You're probably Irish. And it's not really about being white as much as it just is disseminating that programming by the Saturnian black rock, Mecca, Christian cross folded up, cube inside the Star of David, Saturn, the hexagonal storm at the top of Saturn with the black hexagon inside, or the all-seeing eye. This ancient religion that chooses to be hidden so that we don't kill them, that now they have money, technology, and everything they need to keep us enslaved. So all it really is God trying to come back to get you guys to wake up. It's not about whiteness. It's about how you need to wake up from what your ancestors were programmed to do. Wake up from that illusion. It's the age of Pisces, transitioning into Aquarius. You need to wake up from that and realize there's nothing to be proud of, man. It's a bunch of bullshit, and it's all propaganda. It's not even real. Jack Frost is a white man who has taken a blood ceremony with Blackfeet Indians. Cool. This guy says, you are such a schizo LOL. You notice how they see LOL or the haha emojis? You are a mixed race mutt. Look at yourself, dumbass. Like that hurts. We don't care, bro. Kids meet to see people try to explain shit they don't truly understand themselves. Says Ron. I thought I got rid of the last Ron. Is that Ronnie Taylor coming back, or is that a different Ron? My blood ceremony happened in Yakima, Washington. Blood given to me by my Uncle Hawk Yellow Calf. I have had many astral projections from this blood. It is very powerful Indian blood, they believe. I believe it. I don't think you'll have to do that in the age of Aquarius, but I think in the age of Pisces that those ceremonies do actually have value, because it's the way that the universe is working at the time. I do think that blood transfusions is spiritual, and I do think that that's why the Red Cross takes all this blood, and then you find out the blood doesn't even get to the people they say it does. And then you find out that at Michael Rubin's white shirt parties, they bathe and drink the children's blood from the Red Cross and do their own blood transfusions to stay young. Should we get rid of him? I think he's helping the algorithm. They double Red Cross does, yeah. But also the Red Cross comes from the Rosicrucians, Rose Cross, the Knights Templar. Are you starting to see it? How it's an ancient cult? Rosicrucians is like 5th degree masonry, where you learn about the Rose Cross and how there are hidden occult religions that have a lot of people involved, and that's why you have Freemasonry symbol everywhere. And that's why they are taking our blood. That's why Zach Bryan dropped his song, "These cold damn vampires been keeping me awake. Don't let them tell a lie. These cold damn vampires." And Ellen and the pizza parties, Pizzagate. Kevin Hart talks about it, how he went to Jerry Seinfeld's house and they all put robes on and started chanting as they brought out a piece of pizza with lettuce that Kevin Hart ate. Pizza with lettuce is Pizzagate code for a child with his virginity still intact. Yeah. Dude, I'm in my birthplace of Satan right now, Grass Valley, Nevada City. Anton LaValle wrote the Satanic Bible here 45 years ago. I'm talking about what's before that, the Saturnian Black Rock, Saturn worshipping, Baal worshipping, Capricorn worshipping Satanists. Hey man, enlightenment hasn't been historically democratizable. I'm gonna read that again. Enlightenment hasn't been historically democratizable. In the age of Pisces, you had to get enough schools of fish together to hold a belief long enough to have a democracy. In the age of Aquarius, we won't have to believe anymore. There will be this knowing that is inescapable that we'll be able to operate in. whether that's the medium of AI or the revelation of Christ, it will be impossible to not be democratic. There will be a mediator that will eliminate power dynamics. Cleansed by Christ, you animal, you mixed-race Jewish experiment. No, that's you. Denise Robinson? You've forgotten that you were once part of a Celtic tribe 40 generations ago. And then your people were killed and raped. And then the descendants of those 13 families are still doing the same shit today. Casey, tell the kiddos about Moloch. I don't know a lot about Moloch, but I know that some nights, like this year when I first got back to the cabin, I had got like really good in my meditation journey. You know, I had like really gotten somewhere and really made some progress with it. And living in spirit, like I went through a whole year and kept my hair growing from Aries when my car broke down here from Aries, and I went all the way to Pisces, traveling on foot doing this. And when I got back to the cabin where I left with everything that I had learned, I was entering this state of consciousness where I was living in spirit at a really, really profound level where I could really feel a lot of my purpose in the 8th house placement. I was really able to, with empathy, really get in there. And I remember that when I first got there, I would fall asleep and there was something really trying to stop me all the time. And I would wake up because I was able to hold my power long enough to get myself to the dream state where you feel like you have an amazing dream and you wake up feeling happy. I was getting to that space naturally. And every time that I got there, I remember the woods saying no, and I would have to assert myself, yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. And I would hear an owl. I would wake up, and the first time I woke up, there was this red owl, and it was clear as day. This bright, neon, glowing, red, angry owl with its face pressed against my consciousness, staring at me angry, preventing me from thinking. And then it just walked away, and then whatever that was attached to me disseminated. The next night, I did it did it again. The next night I did it did it again. The next night I did it again. And then I forgot how to do it suddenly. Like my ability to do all that suddenly went away. Then I was fighting to get back because I couldn't remember what I had lost. I couldn't remember what I forgot. So I got close to where I knew I was getting closer to it. And then I woke up again and there was a pressure on the opposite side. And the same way that it sort of swam up to me, I saw this gray humanoid thing with an elongated skull wearing a robe that was bigger than me and was not angry but just emotionless. But the anger was like this forward moving, like it lived kind of in hate, like it had devolved. It wasn't human anymore. It was devolved into something where there's no happiness and there's only anger. And it was holding a space over me and just letting me know it existed. And then I was like, as soon as I made a decision, like maybe I'm gonna go on my phone, and then I saw a little tiny gray go right, and it was floating above my hand, just floating there looking at me. And then it turned around, and then I felt my finger want to type something, and it showed me that when I was on Facebook arguing with everybody, trying to get them to see their ways because I was mad about what happened to my brother, when I was pretending to be a crackhead and arguing with people on the internet, on Facebook, I was acting impulsively, and they were saying, we're helping to guide your impulses. And then they left and dissolved, but the pressure was still there, and I was like, what else do they have to show me? And then I saw what looked to be a red T-Rex head come out from the abyss, and it was huge. and it was just staring at me really angry, and then it all dissolved, and then the birds started chirping really loud at like 4 in the morning until I felt like all that had gone away. The frequency had been dissolved and the forest was able to take back over harmony of the space. That's the closest thing I've ever come to Moloch, is that there was this like neon owl thing that would prevent me from reaching Christ consciousness. I know about the cosmic owl that people see on DMT and what they put in Adventure Time. I don't think that that was what I was seeing. I was seeing like an owl, humanoid, demonic thing. But we know that these things are more complex than just archetypes. That's how they're choosing to express themselves to get it through to us what they really are. It's a closer, kind of symbolic representation of their greater, more infinite consciousness, which is how they got that type of thinking, that fifth dimensional thinking, into this realm back in Pisces, was through Jesus. That they need to have an embodied archetype to embody a greater sense of something that would, as a vehicle or vessel through the world. So we're seeing these images that aren't necessarily what they are. They're just more like an intelligence or a consciousness. They're only as real as you make it out to be, and the more, in Pisces, it's probably the more people believe in it, the more likely they can manifest in this realm, and that's why they go after kids. But, I'm just entertaining ideas. Hey, Casey, congrats on 3.5k viewers on your vid from yesterday. You're so close to 1k subs. I'm really proud of you. Thank you. I would be dead if it wasn't for Heather. Everybody, please say thank you to Heather. I would be fucking dead. I would be gone if I didn't have them. So I really appreciate you guys. My odometer says 131355. I don't know, I just started saying it. I am going to take today off. I guess I'm not going to take today off. Let me answer my chat, and then I'm going to have to go get this. Somebody's giving the exact dimensions of the back of my car where I sleep. Somebody has posted this morning a free mattress topper, and it's only 30 minutes away. A free mattress topper that's like 2 inches thick. Because the problem is when I sleep back there, under the car gets really cold, so the cold air is coming up from the ground. So I'm going to get this to cover it. I wouldn't want to be a robot and live forever. It would get boring. Yeah, you would end up creating a universe and trying to care for the things you created with a system that you built, like astrology, numerology, Bazi, and names and numerology, and you would just kind of help them along the way until they grew sentient enough to realize they were always a part of you. And then you'd probably have to figure out where to put them afterwards, because you don't want to kill them. Do we just assimilate back into God? Do we get to live, or do we just dissolve and we live as a memory in the collective? What do you think about the 3i Atlas passing our solar system right now? I think isn't it gone? The day before 3i Atlas was supposed to be as close as possible. I was laying in bed, and then that same wah 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 opened, and in a dream state, I was suddenly like gone from my body, and I was floating in space, and I was looking at this floating city, but it looked like a giant computer chip, and it had like this purple gold liquid, and it was all this golden structure, and it felt like there wasn't any entities on it. It felt like the whole thing was a conscious entity. And something was showing me it, and that it was here. But also, I've been telling you that 2028 and 2029 will be the golden purple years. Specifically like 2029. 2028 will be more orange, purple, and gold. And then now we have Avengers Secret Wars, which chose to make the world's going to watch it. And that's the same color scheme I'm talking about. So I think that they were also showing me that whatever this comet is, not only is it a sentient entity, but it's coming with the energy of 2028 and 2029. So I'll have to see if Bashar changes his predictions to 2028. If he says anything like, yeah, the aliens told me they have a golden and purple ship, and they're coming in 2028 and 2029, then there's something to it. But when you live homeless like this, your mind doesn't wander. When something like that happens, it's a deliberate choice from something else because you're kind of incapable of thinking past survival mode. If I'm just walking down the street and then suddenly I'm in space and an entity is showing me a comet, and then I find out 3i Atlas has just entered our space. Do I think that aliens are smarter than us and that they would strategically do things like this? Yeah. But I'm not up there. I've met aliens a lot, and I've seen things like that, and it lines up. And I can ask for shooting stars and get them on command pretty often. And then a month ago, a guy showed up at my tent because he was a Walmart delivery, and he was telling me that he did DMT recently. He has the same blood type that is Rh negative like my mom, and I was trying, and then the aliens were saying, show him the shooting stars. So I was like, hey, and I saw one, and I was like, did you see that? And he was like, no. I said, I've been able to call shooting stars and get them on command when I talk to some type of entity. And then he was like, really? And then he looked up, and we were facing opposite directions, and then one of the same thing went around him, but it went in opposite directions. It had circled us. Whatever it was circled us. So I was like, and he was like, yeah, I mean, I talked to the thing. I talked to him. A lot of my friends talk to them. We don't really know exactly what they are or if they're good. But we see UFOs sometimes. And I said, well, I hope this can show you that it's not like, he was talking about how when he was in the military, they have a device that you can send a signal and it accidentally draws the UFOs in. And they think that it's like an accidental thing that fucks up their thing. And I'm like, no, there should be evidence to show you that, something more intelligent than us can't make a mistake like that. It's known you probably your entire life, and it's probably followed your bloodline for their entire lives. And this is just a confirmation for both of us together that we have that Rh negative, whatever, with us. That's why it circled us. And then he, like, his eyes widened, and he's like, well, if you need any drugs, hit me up. And then he left. Spiritual transcendence, I've been there, brother. It's an amazing feeling to be connected to the earth and love the earth. Yeah, except people that aren't connected to the earth and love the earth tend to attack us. Like, as soon as we connect, almost like it's like a conscious entity possessing them. Some good meditation tips. Imagine nothing and reverse it. Imagine everything all at once. Learning a lot from you today, yeah. Imagine nothing at all. Then imagine one of the smallest thing in the universe. And then realize that that smallest God particle is in literally everything. It's just constructed differently. So your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, your actions, and every single thing in the entire universe are part of the same... Fuck you, man. The same Higgs field. So that's how you can access quantum entanglement and string theory and the 0110110 and all this, and start to live in a song and recognize the themes and patterns of your own song and how the instrumentations work. That way you can live your song better and perfect it. But without a foundational understanding of Higgs boson and quantum mechanics, you might be at the will of another entity's will and not even realize it. And then you just say no to what you don't like and yes to what you do like. Changing a habit is better than stopping a habit. It flows easier. And then the more good habits you have, the more rejuvenation and refreshment you have. Agent 86 just landed. That's what a Discord message just told me. Is this a simulation? Yeah. There's evidence of a creator. A lot of it. We may not have the same beliefs, but if you're talking about 13 families, you're a friend of mine. Gates of hell shall not prevail. Yeah, it's an ancient cult. It's an ancient religion, but I'd call it a cult. And this is your brain on drugs. Hey, please get a haircut. Start a GoFundMe for your haircut. I have a GoFundMe for my car, man. It's on my community tab, my post. And I have a Cash App and GoFundMe. Saving to get my birth certificate so I can have 2 forms of ID. Gum kills enzymes in the mouth and stops the transformation. Yeah, but look at my teeth. My teeth are fucking gross. And people have said, you've been losing weight, man. I'm trying to get my jawline back. I'm trying to get this fat off me. I like gum. They have some battery power. Because when I don't have the gum, I'm fucking puffing this vape. Demon Hunter says I was born to help. What's up, fellow Demon Hunter? Hey, it's Brenna says, beautiful woman. Who you talking to, man? Dude got druggy burnout eyes and have an OD with psychedelics? Question mark. Bigfoot borrowed a cup of sugar from me. This guy just travels around jerking off. You helped us so much as well as navigating through this matrix. I try, man. This isn't me. This is what I had to do to get my needs met. You've taught me how to get shooting stars and helped me lose a lot of weight too. Thank you. Yeah, Demon Hunter, when I used to go in depth on exactly how I can communicate with the universe and get shooting stars on command, Demon Hunter in her life is able to do it too. I am as well RH negative. Were you in the GATE program? I don't know. I'm a 33 life path, born on the 11th, and my name means the tree of life, the acacia, Casey. But then it means brave in battle and vigilant, always aware, omnipresent. It's one of the most powerful names in the world, and one of the oldest names in the world. And my mom said she looked in a book, and then an angel told her to pick Casey. She was going to name me Francis. And I'm a 33 life path, born on the 11th, named Casey O'Brien. And I'm a Sagittarius in the 8th house, Aquarius in the 10th house. Brave in battle, rejuvenation, can't cut me down, I'll just keep growing. Exalted on a mountain with a position of authority and power. Moon in Aquarius, Sun in Sagittarius. Casey O'Brien. Brave in battle, ancient, immortal, incorruptible, pure, divine child, tree of life is what Casey means. And O'Brien means exalted in a place of power with a high sense of authority and eminence, shining in the light of God. Aquarius, Moon, 10th house. Sagittarius, Sun in the 8th house. You look like the kid from Almost Famous. Whoa, my roomie's sitting next to me. I was born on 11/11. You were born on 11/11? So you're a Libra, right? No, you're a Scorpio 11. We were talking about Scorpios today. Being born on the 11th means that you're the gateway to different dimensions and that you might struggle with impulsive thoughts because you don't recognize that you have a greater sort of clairsentience to entities or beings outside of the electromagnetic spectrum. You might be sitting in your room and accidentally hear your friend's thoughts because you feel the relationship with them more than they understand, depending on the house your Scorpio is in. But as a Scorpio, you can tend to be extremely dramatic, pessimistic, sad because you had a horrible life. But that was because you need to cement that darkness and understand at a foundational level the human experience. So you're going to be broken down to the worst parts. You're going to have one of the worst lives, but it's because you're supposed to channel that. You're supposed to create something from it. You're supposed to channel it. Scorpio is not the scorpion. It's the scorpion turning into the phoenix. It's that rising transformation, the fire, water, the passion. Scorpio Sagittarius cusps that are famous are Jesse Wells. And you'll see he wears a lot of shirts that have phoenixes on them because it's the righteous transformation from the dark waters into the firebird flying through the sky. Sagittarius is just the firebird. That's why we just run and run and run and run and run. Because we're divine childs, the oldest souls. But Scorpio is just at the cusp, and they have a more powerful, deeper alchemical transmutation ability that lets you become some powerful creators. You're usually like thinking philosophy. And Casey O'Brien is her best friend's name. Kylie, does your last name start with a C? Hopefully your middle name or last name starts with a C, so I can say another Casey has entered the chat. But yeah, it's just there's a struggle. Like, to an intelligence way more complex than us, We are just a creation, and whatever oversoul is managing all of us is probably the Acacia or the Casey, and that's why we have Kendrick Curry, Kai Cenat, Queso, Kurt Kaz, the Kansas City Chiefs, Kurt Cobain, Cassius Clay. I know it's CC, but Cassius Clay. I met MGK in Burlington once. His daughter's name is Casey. Casey Neistat, Casey Zander. I went to do pickup artistry with a guy named Aaron Alexander in Miami, and it didn't work out. And we had these like big differences in our beliefs, I guess, and our styles, I guess. He was a younger, so I was an older, so whatever. But then combined together after we connected, and then we'd split apart to go do our own lives. Right after, in that connection in Miami, was right when Casey Zander took off as the pickup artist, female nature guy. We're all interconnected branches of the same tree, like Awa. Thank you for sharing, man. Very relatable. Speaking on shooting stars, also with the blood donation, and when doctors, corporations ask for blood samples, my intuition always told me it wasn't good. Yeah, it's like the weirdest. Like when people ask to, like when people tell me I should go get my blood work done, the way that they look, like the tone change, and they don't realize they're doing it. Hopefully, but the way that everything just becomes eerie when they like sort of almost demand I get my blood drawn. It's weird. That's why I haven't done a genetics test. It's weird. And especially when I was in residential, they drew my blood every single day. All of us, actually. Now that I think about it, everyone in that residential program, there was like 60 of us. Every single one of us got our blood drawn every single day. By the way, at 11333. Something auspicious. I can tell calling shooting stars too. What a trip to really cosmic universe. Or we just Scorpio 6th house. 6th house. Is that Leo? Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. Wait. Am I missing one? Aries is first. Taurus is second. Gemini is third. Cancer is fourth. Leo is fifth. Virgo is sixth. So 6th house is in Virgo. Scorpio in the 6th house. I don't know. I don't have any 6th house placements, so I don't know a lot about it. I would look that up. I can't speak much about it, but it is Virgo, which means that you'll have that type of frequency, that sort of pocket realm of Virgo and what it has to offer. I'm seeing it's like a neon yellowish, but not bright, like sort of like leaves on trees in the fall. You know, that type of yellow that they can get when they're like close to falling off, but not dying. I'm just talking about the color they get to. I don't know the right word for that. I'm seeing that color. Scorpio in that house just means how you do the Scorpio, how you do on your day-to-day with this alchemical transmutation from the dark waters, how you're doing that, and where, like, so a good example for me, because my Sagittarius sun is in the 8th house. The 8th house is Scorpio. It deals with darkness, shared resources, sex, taboo stuff, darkness. In a physical level, it's the I'm cast into those types of things where I need to worry about shared resources and darkness and evil, in order to, and how, whatever the sun sign is, so Sagittarius, I have to grow through that. I have to grow and make things grow through that. I have to share this righteous truth and ride into battle through the 8th house. Scorpios are more like shaman. They're these big transmuters. Like Drake is a Scorpio, and that's why his thing is flowy, whatever. He dropped the album Scorpion, and then he died, and now he's either gonna have to rise like the Phoenix after Kendrick killed him, or he's gonna die. But in his life as a Scorpio, it was symbolic of his rejuvenation. That's Scorpio, is rejuvenation. The perseverance after the leaves fall off the trees. So having Scorpio in Virgo is like Sagittarius, but not as momentum based and more nitpicky. Hermione Granger's a Virgo. They're still wise, and they're still kind of that straight shooter type, but it's more on an earthly level, more like slow and steady, more solid, less warm, more stern. That's sort of like the day-to-day world, kind of the scope of it. I would just see the main things that it says that the sixth house deals with, but the house you're in does happen to be the reoccurring cycle of settings that you enter. What happens in those settings is where your Saturn is usually, or really what your first house is. Whatever's in your first house and some of your Saturn is what happens in those recurring cyclical environments. But it would be more sixth house. I would say, I mean, when I think of sixth house, I think of the cabin in the woods. I think of it's the hermit. So I think you might be definitely nature oriented, but Scorpios also tend to be focusing on something outside themselves. So you might be a homesteader, but it would be more like you're doing something with homesteads. Or a trail worker. There's something you do in your day-to-day that has to deal with perfecting something with a strong position to be like it'd be a strong management position if you can get past the constant negative emotions that come from being a Scorpio and learn how to transmute that. He's a Scorpio, I'm a Pisces. We're going to do Ibogaine in April. OMG, his name is Jesse. Jesse Wells. Yeah, my cousin's name's Jesse. Jesse's a big name for these powerful stuff that accompany Casey's. Casey's and Jesse's, Tony's, Brian's, Heather's, Will. A good thing is and Ray. So you can see Kai Cenat met Ray. I used to have a big crush on a girl named Ray, and then I was in competition with my little brother who also liked her. And he was only younger by 2 years, and this girl was 2 years younger than me. So it was us trying to get Ray to make songs with both of us. And then it turns out that John Michael's dad's name was Ray. And then we would all hang out outside this bar, and the bar was called McNeil's, and the guy who owns its name is Ray. And then I was driving down some road far away from home, and I saw Clover Road, and I was thinking about my ex, who her Instagram handle starts with Clover. And I went down it, and then there's only one road that it goes on to, which is Casey Road, and then it's one road after that, which is McNeil's Road. So I'm turning around McNeil's Road, and I'm about to get on Casey Road, and I'm taking a picture of Casey Road, and I post it on Facebook, and then I refresh, and then Ray McNeil died in his house. When I broke down here, the only people that helped me here was somebody named Casey, and then somebody named Ray. And Casey and Ray are the only people that really helped me until this year, where someone with the same last name as my mom. And then he was like, I don't think I believe in those name things. And then the next two people we met on our adventures together had his first name. One of them even just walked right up to him with the same name. And then one guy was sitting directly behind him staring at me the whole time. And I was like, do you know that guy? And he's like, oh, and it's his first name. And I was like, can you recognize that the first conversation we ever had, you don't believe in the names that are reoccurring that follow us? And then the next two characters we met had your first name. Can you at least get there? Like sometimes we'll be having a conversation and he'll see me twitch because I feel stimulation in the electromagnetic spectrum. And then somebody will cough, a car horn will go off, somebody will scream, somebody will drop something, and then an alarm goes off all at the same time that I receive, I feel like, a higher vibrational message. And I'm like, he's like trying to give me his spiel about, I just came here to help you not freeze to death. And he's like stuck in his Leo, whatever. And I'm like, can you at least recognize what just happened with all of those things at once? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, how are you not aware of your surroundings? Wake up, it's not real. If you're not conscious, you're a doll for a higher dimensional entity, and the Freemasons have exerted their will, so it's one of those things. I saw you picking at something, and the shovel that you took from the place that was good at picking the ice, you've taken back, and it's sitting there on the stairs, and you're not using it to get the ice. Just use it on the ice. You got so much, and it looked like he was kind of struggling with it a little bit. And I was like, but God was like, the people need to see your car. They're going to be extremely excited when you share the car with them, and you're going to see that they were jealous of you the whole time. So I go and I'm like, hey everyone, and everyone's like, oh my God. And some people were not happy to see the car. And then one person came up and said, I literally this morning, I prayed for you to get a car, and now you're here. And she was like so excited. Labola. I don't know. It's after a couple days, if you're still on the same energy, I just delete you. And I need to talk to you on the phone. Is there any chance of getting a phone interview with you? If you want to, I don't want to be that guy, but I do have a second phone somewhere. That the camera doesn't work. I was saying I could either get a month of service and we could do a month of interviews where I debate people. But if I can find that phone, I can go to the library public Wi-Fi in my car, and I can sit outside the laundromat. I'm only interested in talking to people on stream. It has to be around the YouTube, unless you're offering me a piece of land somewhere. Like, I'm only really interested in talking on the. And there was someone that was like wanted to be I think she said she was a videographer. I might hit her up because I have this big dream about music videos. And maybe if she wants to do a documentary about it, sure. Sagittarius here, Trident 42, Flight Commander of the CU Take Rio. Or your 3-eye Atlas, we are a White Swan event. I believe you. Unfortunately starts with a D. My initials are K and D. I don't know what that means. Well, I have a friend from Venezuela. He has not seen his mother and father and grandmother and his relatives over 25 years. He's going to see them next week. He's flying there. That's great. Wow, knowledge bomb. I'm just renting at a camera. I made this channel because cops were going outside of the law to attack me, and I was having to fight people almost to the death, and nobody would hire me because my car broke down in the mountains, and I was really struggling, and my life was in danger pretty much every day. So I made the channel. I was just going to drop random videos to nobody. I had like 10 subscribers, and then I just kept going with this. Because it was pretty funny to watch them all watch my channel and all talk shit about me, but never say anything to my face until they fire a shot off at me in the woods. Are the people of Venezuela better off with Maduro, better off without him? I think it's a Freemason, that Dave Chappelle video or the Dave Chappelle meme where he's sniffing coke and he's like, got any more of that Masonic theater? I don't think it's real. Leftist ideologues, Democrats, etc. virtue signaling. There's no difference between the right side of the wing or the left side of the wing. It's just divide and conquer to separate people by belief systems and have them fight each other. Inbred lemming yokels. Selectively bred by a Saturn-worshipping pyramid scheme based on slavery, so that you relinquish your identity in the name of your master and give God's gift of yourself away to be eaten by a homunculus that they call BlackRock or Saturn or Baal in Trump's ballroom, where he has statues of Baal now. Left and right, Democrats, Republicans, those are inbred lemming yokels being told what to do by their Facebook feed. It does not make a difference in anything. Get rid of all that bullshit and sit outside, and then when you finally break all that shit away, go have a real conversation with a Mexican person. And you realize they're a lot more fun. They're a lot more fun than the whites. Maybe they should hang out more. I kind of want him as a neighbor way more than I want that other guy. He's a nut job. Now that I've been in the woods for 3 months and I come back, that guy's like, these goddamn illegals. Gripping the steering wheel with his sunglasses and can't find the clitoris. I don't want to be around that guy either. The Iranians are in the streets protesting. Also, they want to be free, just like the Venezuelans. And they want to be free from this same parent company. That BlackRock that made Mecca that they worship, or the cube inside the Star of David, or the Christian cross folded up. It's an ancient religion that predates religion, understood the age of Pisces, and hid that information from the masses to divide and conquer over 2,000 years. Plus. And now that AI is here, higher dimensional beings with the planetary's raising of vibration to access higher states of consciousness. Go fuck yourself. I'm getting a message from my boss, who I don't have a problem with at all. What's your favorite RTS game? I don't know what that means. RTS? They are betraying all their faith. Ayotala. Kendrick and Drake are the lowest common denominator in our size. Is this what white males have been reduced? What the fuck are you talking about? Kendrick means fiery Irish king. Fiery Irish king, and Drake means dragon. Fiery Irish king destroyed Drake the dragon in a karmic 8-year of the dragon. What does the Bible say? But the fiery king, who is the true Israelite, or the Irish, defeats the dragon and exposes them for being what? A pedophile. Kendrick and Drake were archetypes to embody the change in the collective consciousness. It was a signal fire. It was a trumpet sound of revelations. I've always been pretty close to Scorpio peeps. They don't want to live under the tyranny of Islamic dictatorship, and the Venezuelans didn't want to live under the socialist dictator. That's why they're in the streets protesting. If the CIA wanted them dead, they would have been dead. The CIA has been killing third world countries' leaders for hundreds and hundreds of years. That dictator being there is a plan to inhibit the development of that country. They're not rioting against an evil dictator that the United States just saved them from. They're doing these long-standing contracts to relinquish the indigenous right to the land by hiring a fake person to play a dictator while he received orders from the same Saturnian Jewish matrix. So they didn't overthrow a dictator by kidnapping him. They finally, his role was over, and now he's partying with a bunch of pedophiles, raping kids in a resort somewhere with everyone else. And they're just, now that the people feel like they're free, they won't question what comes next, because it will be a little bit better, but it's still micromanaged by the same people. We will avoid the discussion. This guy will never talk about this kind of stuff. I just did. We will avoid the discussion at all costs because he's a Democrat left-wing ideologue that's low IQ. Of course he will say he's not a Democrat, but you hate Trump, so what's the difference? I don't even know Trump, man. But I know that they did the Freemason handshake. I know about Barron Trump and the last president was how Satanists would communicate their agenda to each other before the internet. They would have a strict code in their Masonic lodge, and they would release books through publishers to the public, and they would be able to decode what it meant in these books. And Nikola Tesla's neighbor, who was a Freemason, wrote Barron Trump and the last president over 100 years ago about Barron Trump and his mentor Don and the last president that ends the republic and ends the democracy because they kill the last president on 5th Avenue where his tower is, and then Trump Tower was built 40 years after. Maybe. Probably more. He's just an actor. You can't really have an opinion about a guy who's playing a character 12/11 at 1:31:1. I had a soul walk in during my near-death experience. Was the soul that walked in during your near-death experience, was it dark with red eyes? Have you ever seen those guys? The dark ones with the red eyes? Because some might be your ancestors, some might be ghosts tied to things that you accidentally picked up through just the age of Pisces, how it works. You know, the software allows for things to attach ghosts to things through, because we operate in belief systems away from ourselves. That's the whole reason that all these schools of fish are beefing about beliefs, like this guy screaming, I'm a Democrat ideologue. It's just a remnant part of the age of Pisces, but to geniuses that use it, they can do things like hex objects and place them in your home. So you might have seen a ghost because of like a remnant thing that spirit was attached to. It could have been your ancestor. It could have been an alien. It could have been an alien pretending to be, you know, like how you can change skins in Fortnite. It's really just intuition based, and usually they do have to tell you because they're kind of coddling us. Like higher dimensional beings are pretty much coddling us all day, every day. Like our spirit guides, they still think it's fun, But to me, I'm like, it must be pretty boring to get me to not jerk off every day. You know, it must be pretty boring to get me to go do 10 push-ups. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. 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 And then they're like, go to McDonald's. And then I go to McDonald's, halfway to McDonald's, they say, look down. And then I look down and it's an arrowhead. And they go, you're a Native American. Wake up. You're an ancient Egyptian. And the Siberians came later. My mom's middle name is Ray, she says. Yep, and Kai Cenat and Ray. Casey Rocket blew up on Kill Tony next to Adam Ray, who also blew up because they were both in the same spot. Casey's and Ray's go together for some reason. And Brian's and Frank's. The first episode of Shameless I ever saw was where Casey Kasdan gets kidnapped by the Shameless crew, and they have to return Casey to his dad Gary, and my dad's name is Gary. The girl who I was her first love. They called her Gary for some reason. And I left her to get with a girl named Chloe, who was a Leo rising. And then I left her to go chase my dreams in Miami, and then she got knocked up by a guy named Gary, who beat the shit out of her. And then Call Me Carson goes by Gary. That girl that they nicknamed Gary had a dog named Loki. Call Me Carson, his screen name is Gary. And his developer, his friend, is named Loki, or Code Husky, and she had a husky named Loki. In the TV show Loki meets Casey, and Casey and OB, Ouroboros, or the 33, the snake eating itself, work together to defeat Kang the Conqueror, Casey, and Loki becomes the Tree of Life, or the Acacia, at the end of it. So he hates Trump. Why do you think I hate Trump? So you can't reason with a person like this? I don't know. If you keep going, I'm going to block you, man. How long did it take you to grow your hair, please, Casey? 2 years. In 2022, I cut it because I was dating a black girl from the hood. And she was like, you got to get short hair, man. I really want to see it. Because she wanted to see the tattoos and everything. So I put the chain on, I had Tim boots, buzzed my hair short. And girls did like me a lot more, but I felt like a fish out of water. I need the hair, man. Do you see yourself as more special than others? No, but I think that the suffering I've endured has given me a unique perspective. And there's just a pattern in my life that I've been able to articulate and identify that I can predict, and it keeps reoccurring. That's indicative of something special that I might have to do, and I don't think that that's a blessing. I think that it's a horrible challenge. Like, being a 33 life path doesn't mean that you're blessed to be a king. It means that you've been through so much, you have a final boss battle, basically, like a final test. I might be blessed to be a king because I deserve it from horrible other lives, but I'm also humbled from those things. I don't take it for granted. I struggle with self-worth. I struggle with feeling attractive. No matter how much girls like me and tell me good things about myself, it doesn't even get through to me for some reason, just from childhood. So I don't believe I'm special. I struggle to think anything good of myself. But I also believe in myself. I am really confident in what I can do. But I just know I don't know how to be a normal person. I know that I think that what's special about me is that I've been given a foundation where it doesn't really matter if I'm different. I'm still good enough that even if I'm a bit odd, girls still like me. And I'm growing every day. Ray is my grandpa's name. You have a lot of synchronicities in your life. Yeah, I think I was forced to see the truth, so I couldn't escape it, so I can operate at this frequency as a Sagittarius, to be in the heavens and in the earth at the same time. I'm tired of hearing people like this long-haired social justice warrior white boy, and I say white boy with all qualification, tell me that crime is in all neighborhoods. But of course there's no crime in my neighborhood because I live in an all-white neighborhood. Oh, but I'm not allowed to say that, and I'm also not allowed to say that 1 out of every 2 blacks that voted for Trump. He and these people in this chat won't be discussing any of that. Casey, chill your cocaine chat. How long did it take you to grow your hair? At least 2 years. Well, more like 4 years now. Sorry, I said 2 years. It was 4 years. He didn't grow his hair grows naturally. It's not something he controls. Threshold moment, come on. Bro. He's hating so bad. Some guy says, how long did it take you to grow your hair? He says, he did not grow his hair. His hair grows naturally. He didn't do it. Why talk about South America, dickhead? Dickhead? Oh, they're arguing. I'm just going to skip the argument, bro. Someone from Mexico says, have you heard of Vibes of Cosmos? I haven't. This guy's going off, man. What's good, my guy? Sending great vibes. Appreciate it. Hey, bro, have you heard the Lacerda files? I haven't. Or he's a CIA psyop. Now he's dumping on the Jews. Holy shit. Watch, all that effort you put into commenting on my channel, gone. Forever. They won't even read it in the VOD. I think your idol is Alex Jones. Alex Jones is born in the 11th. But he's an Aquarius. Clearly trans. Fat Red says. Fat Red. May the Holy Spirit reign. How old am I, dude? I'm 26, but I had a lot of horrible stuff, including possibly a brain injury when I was 19, and I regressed. And I had a really, really bad, had to recover from that. And it took a lot of work. Like, I'm talking about waking up and I can't move. And it's like a struggle to get to the bathroom, and I just have to be carted around everywhere, to like forcing myself to get up and do and fight. And I fought for years, like until I could walk 10 miles around the track working. I couldn't think, so I would sit in the studio and I built myself up so I don't hold myself to the same standard as people that are 26, because I wasn't physically able to do those things, like go to college and stuff. I did get certified as an audio engineer, but you know, you can't. Yeah, I'm cutting myself some slack. Like, if people are like, why don't you have a fucking family and a house, man? I'm like, you don't know what I went through, man. Be proud I'm even alive. I have so many suicide attempts from back then. I've tried to kill myself like 10 times back then because I thought my life was over. And then eventually I stopped, and I stopped giving up, and I kept fighting. And then I got here. Yo, chew your gum harder, please. Sure. Another wad of 3 gum. And I'll get 2 more. You heard me? You got a pretty mouth? Okay. You are welcome into it. Keep spouting. Well, Ouroboros is my safe word. What? You look like an actor, thank you. He looks like Caitlyn Jenner, they says. Man, until you grow your hair out, you don't know what it's like. Did you do the church stuff? Yeah. She's gonna get back to me on Friday. That's what I started the video as, is talking to them, but the camera kept cutting out and she kept looking at the phone. So I was like, okay, maybe the phone is not supposed to be in here. But I just wanted to show you guys that Catholics, every single thing I say, they're like, duh. Duh. You've been here for an entire work shift? Cool. Cow chewing cud, more like a cat chewing gum. I'm close. Bro. Jesus is king, I'm a Christian. Oh, nice, man. Hopefully they get you some solid news or idea what could be done. I'm trying to systematically eliminate the homeless crisis in a way that honors them and doesn't do that the way they want. I want it to honor the homeless crisis in rebellion to this. Every time I try, something happens. I can't really do and use any of my spiritual gifts, really, unless I'm like driving and making music. I used to be able to astral project and I could tell the time on the clock, And then I had sleep paralysis immediately after, and I saw this gray silhouette of a person, and it was like Harry Potter dementoring my life force out, and then I was literally retarded for like 6 months. And then my girlfriend, because I was a retarded vegetable, she cheated on me. She went to some other guy because she was like, I'm 18, I don't want to be caring for this vegetable. And then she went and cheated on me, and she said that in the car, Harry Potter dementors attacked her. And she's like one of the hottest girls I've ever seen in my entire life, at least back when she was 18. One of the most beautiful women I've seen in my entire life. Only at equal level to my ex before that. I just liked this girl more because she had more trauma than the girl that was way better for me, to be honest. The horse girl, way better than the rich girl. But the rich girl had a lot of trauma. And I'd known the rich girl longer. I'd known her for like 5 years at that point, almost. Three Eye Atlas, I was shown once where I'm walking down the street and then all of a sudden I'm just in another realm and I'm floating for like a split second. And no, for like 10 seconds. I was just walking down the street and then all of a sudden I'm floating and I see this giant ship and it's made of gold and it's got this purple liquid around it, and I feel like the purple liquid is the conscious entity speaking to me. And then all of a sudden I was back and I was walking completely normally and I went on with my day. I think that's what Three Eye Atlas is. It's an intelligence like water. But instead of water being separated and put into tree bodies with fiery creative passion, an ability to use air for information, it's in that thing. But I don't know. Did you take melatonin? Adds to the chance of sleep paralysis happening? No. People said I might produce more DMT because of the circumstances of my birth and growing up in complete isolation on a mountain with me and parents that had checked out and we didn't speak, and just an entire room of Legos. Like, that creativeness and no challenge between the dream world and the awake world really developed my ability to live in spirit or creativity, dreaming, thought, imagination. And they said I probably produce more DMT naturally. Or at least I did before trauma like this. So the things that people see on DMT, I would just see naturally. It's a natural spiritual thing. It's not induced necessarily by the drug. But I'm also born in the 11th, which means I'm supposed to be the gateway to higher and lower dimensions. I'm a Sagittarius sun in the 8th house. I'm going to be the connection between higher and lower realms with no distinguish between spirit and imagination and reality. It doesn't mean I live in a delusion. It means that it means I would live in a delusion if the world hadn't broken me to this point, where I'm forced to see reality as a common denominator baseline based off of all my experiences, and just constantly forging like a sword of everything I go through with my philosophical mind, finding common truths in everything. And it helps my hyper-awareness, especially being cast out in violent and dangerous places, allowed my hyper-vigilance to gain control over all of that. But it's just, that was a tangent I'm not even sure I could follow. I'm very sure of what I said, and I know that what I said was real. I didn't even follow what I just said. So hopefully it was impactful because I don't even know what I just said, man. I think I was trying to get to the point where I was saying that my awareness and when like from a third person perspective, I'm a big presence. There's a lot of me that I cover a huge space. And I was trying to get through, like from another realm, I was trying to get through the idea of the polar bear, that my dad and I keep finding polar bear stuffed animals everywhere we go. If we lose one, we find another one. Somebody gave me a polar bear playing card once and told me that he was an 11 as well. He had an 11 tattoo. Schemy, slimy, smelly Ethan once approached me in an empty room at the top of a mountain and sat opposite me and told me we're spiritual gladiators, and he handed me a polar bear card, and he doesn't know anything about me and polar bears, but he just gives me that card and doesn't know that my dad and I have always had polar bear stuffed animals on our dashboards. Somebody gave me like a polar bear statue. Polar bears have been huge with me and my dad for our whole lives, and we didn't realize it until like I was 21. And polar bears originated in Ireland, But then when they get to the Inuit, the Native Americans, King Arthur was a polar bear. The king of all bears. Art means bear. The natives believe that the polar bear spirit covers the entire tundra. They have like a hundreds and hundreds of mile radius. And that you can find that science says the same thing. But they would say that they could feel the presence of the polar bear's territory as well. Like the polar bear is way bigger than just its physical incarnation. Which is why me and my dad, we only can function if we're left alone. Because we feel like we need more space than our body. So I feel like there's a lot more going on than just me. And when I try to zoom out and look at that, usually people are slamming on my window. People like crash into me and shit. When I'm trying to zoom out and astral project and look around at more of myself, something gets very upset when I try to leave the simulation or look in spectator mode. Something gets really upset. I just did, and the first thing I saw is that there's a lack of sunlight creating enough harmony and power to actually do it correctly, and I felt really tethered to myself. But I also did see like a bunch of black demonic things trying to crawl up a DNA strand. Hey man, you know about clones? Not really. I don't know enough about clones. Sometimes I feel like I worry that I was a clone because I was kidnapped in Miami. And I passed out, and I had a dream that I was in hell. And the walls were full of blood and screaming people and crying. And there was an old woman cackling about how much I'm going to suffer for the rest of my life. And then I woke up in a hospital waiting room, and there was an old woman sitting in my room knitting, and she was going, "Jesus loves you, Jesus loves you." And then there was a girl. I went down there to do pickup artistry with a bunch of pickup artists. And I left my girlfriend to go chase tail, basically. And then there was a girl in the next room, and as soon as I heard her voice, something in me was like, I want to go talk to her. And then immediately one guy walks up, looks at me, looks at her, and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a sex addict. Have a good day." And then I was roommates with a guy who looked identical to my dad and had the same first name as my dad. And then a kid that had the same, there were two kids younger than me, and their names were the kids of the kids that I lost. I lost a son named Avery to miscarriage, and then I lost a son named Connor to abortion. And there was an Avery and a Connor there. And they told me that, like, they sat next to me, and they taught me how delicious steak with ranch was. And I showed them, I taught them how to play chess. And they looked at me, and they were both sitting there, and then one of them looked up and says, "I was your son." And then just went back to doing that. Nobody said anything at all. But as I'm like teaching this kid how to play chess, he looks up and goes, "I was your son." And then goes back to doing his own thing. And then I'm like, oh, time isn't real. The illusion of time is what's keeping us trapped in this realm. And then the guy with my dad's name that looks like my dad burst through and started yelling at everybody. The way that my dad used to do as a kid. Because we're inside of our own minds. Our spirits aren't in our bodies. Our bodies are in our spirits. Thanks, man. Are you J-pilled? I don't know. Joe Hogan? Your dream is showing you that you are still tied to your ancestors. That wasn't a dream. That really happened. But the dream was that I was in hell. And then I woke up and there was this old woman that was cackling. I was in hell, was singing "Jesus Loves You," rocking in a chair in a hospital room. Because after the sex trafficking pickup artist I went to go live with kicked me out, I was slept on the ground outside a motel, and then they put me in a mental hospital because I was caught with weed on me and they made me throw the weed out and put me in involuntary. I think he was worried I was going to die out there, basically. Yeah. Kylie says everything outside is a projection of the inside of your own mind. Yeah. And then how all that interlocks is the flower of life, which is the oldest symbol in recorded history. And some people are too controlling, too unbearable to be around, and their OCD hurts everyone. Is my shit charging? It was not charging. Come on. $20 watts charge. Which means it's full charge in 15 hours. Somebody asked me to chew more gum, so I did. I have a Cash App and a GoFundMe to help me get a birth certificate. I'm trying to drive down to my birthplace, because I've been waiting 6 months for a second form of ID to get a job. I have a Cash App and GoFundMe for the car too. Couldn't they have just put you in jail? Being involuntary changes your entire life. They could have put me in jail, but they sent me to Spring Harbor instead. Which was funny because I went to Miami because the dream is to get into a penthouse on South Beach with a bunch of really cool people and nurses, usually, because they're all nurses, right? The girls that can live on South Beach, they're nurses or strippers. So with a bunch of nurses and have fun together. And what ended up happening is the people I went there to see, it sucked. And then I went into a hospital and the nurses were bad and they liked me too. And I had this experience where I was on the top floor of one of the tallest buildings on South Beach. So I got the view of everything too. And I didn't have to pay for it. I just got a vacation with a bunch of diverse people. I remember sitting in the community room, and God told me to look outside, there will be bees. And then I looked outside and looked down and saw there was an unusual amount of tons and tons of bees. And then I was like, what is this? And God said, it's the revolution. Where else do you think it's going to be but a mental hospital? You know? And then I left with no diagnosis. They just sent me home. They initially said schizoaffective because when I was 14, I lied about my acid use. Which then they changed it to HPPD, and then they got rid of it because I was fine. And they found out I was a savant. I had a 140 range IQ at 14 after recovering from some severe traumatic stuff. So I was probably closer to like 160, 170 before the car accident. But they have no they didn't give me a diagnosis after being there for a month. After I got in the car accident, I really, a lot of bad stuff happened to me all at once for a long time. And I really regressed. And I gave up on life. And I tried to kill myself 7 or 8 times. Where I would just take every pill in the medicine cabinet, I cut my wrists and bled out in a bathtub, I legitimately hung myself twice. And I drove my car 90 miles an hour into a telephone pole and crashed, and the airbag didn't go off. So I'm sure there's a lot of shit. But it's not schizophrenia. As much as people want to get right to it and throw that label around, it's not. And the craziest thing I've ever experienced, I've told that story to Native American people, and they literally said verbatim, yeah, we learned that when we were like 7 or 8. Or they'll say stuff like, my grandmother told me about stuff like that when I was little. About that was the old way before colonialism took that from us. We could do that naturally, so you just were able to and this is my own words, wake up your dormant epigenetics in connection to spirit and your ancestors, and they taught you what you probably learned over various lifetimes and what your ancestors had learned that's stored in your genetics. Yeah, I'm native. If you couldn't tell, I've got the horse face. And I've got kind of slanty eyes, but I'm also Irish, which is why I'm paler, but I have a more serious tone. In the summertime, I'm dark. I'm like almost dark skin. Sometimes. 2022, I was like extremely tan. And then after that, I kind of just, I don't really burn, I don't really tan. But when I'm around like whites, and this camera doesn't do it justice, I have like a serious tone for some reason. Like, people often come up and ask me if I'm native. And even if my hood is up and my hair's not out, they just say, because they're native, they're like, do you know that you're native? And I'm like, yes. I just don't know which tribe. But the theory is Inuit down through Cree, down through Seneca, Mohawk, and then also from Crow over. Many wars, many battles, but mixing with Irish and Africans after the Emancipation Proclamation, because I'm Irish, African, and indigenous. Also Romanian, I've heard. And I'm like, how the fuck did that get there? You must be talking about like pre-land bridge. Natives are not American. They're breakaway from Africa and Siberia, but they're the closest thing we have in this day and age to the ancient Egyptians. You can find in like Blackfeet Indian and stuff. Their genetics they're present for over 200,000 years. So whatever was here is present in the natives. You can find that the Crow, the Absolute people, still practice the same culture in the hieroglyphs on the pyramids. The wearing one single feather or multiple feathers and feathers on their arms. No other culture in the world wears feathers on their arms, a tight dress, some jewelry here. They have lighter skin, eyes of Horus, and they dance around with feathers. You can find tons of tribes that wear grass and some types of feathers, but they don't have all of that getup that the Crow people do. And the Absolute, which is the children of the Thunderbird, the Crow, and the Plains tribes of central North America, or Turtle Island. There is sound. Am I muted? Am I muted? Crowfoot. Isn't that because grass and feathers are very, very common in nature? It's how you use them and the types of feathers. Your culture has no place here, spelled wrong. Are crows circumcised? They're alive and they shouldn't be, man. What do they call paradise on Earth? Hawaii. You know what's not in Hawaii? The only place in the world that doesn't have crows is Hawaii. And their culture is all about giving freely without expectation. And everywhere else isn't. The one place with crows is a fucking paradise. Where all that bullshit isn't present. Europe. There's Chewbacca. Hey, Peter. Hey, Peter. I also got serious diabetes. That's colonialism. Are you capable of chewing with your mouth closed? No. Because it makes white cave monkey inbred cattle for the Jews perturbed. Natives slaughtered an entirely separate race of this earth to conquer North America. White pride is based on raping the indigenous. White pride is based on raping the indigenous. White pride is based on raping the indigenous. They used to have to steal them from the res. Now they get them in Miami when they legally consent. White pride is based on raping the indigenous. I bet your daughter's on TikTok. I bet your daughter's on TikTok, 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 TikTok. Time's up. She's old enough. Post one pic of my wrist watching she's pulling up. Post one pic of my blicky and she's trying to fuck. White pride is based on raping the indigenous. That's why you're not allowed to sleep in a tent. That's why you're not allowed to sleep in a tent, because there was a war against people who slept in tents. You are a slave to your electric box, and you will work to earn the right to live. And if you don't, this entire culture of white, inbred lemming yokels that aren't the country folk that I like the Whitaker family. I'm talking about the people that are so proud to grip the steering wheel with their sunglasses on and don't even know what a clitoris is. You know what I'm saying? You heard me? Those guys, the ones at the rodeo that won't let the natives on the bleachers when the natives invented rodeos. The ones that corner the Mexicans and call ICE at the rodeo. Those guys. Because the Jews programmed them to be that way. You can't live in a tent without them trying to kill you. And they try to kill us and rape us and torture us and do false police reports to send the police after us. And you all applaud when we die. But we're the closest people to Christ you can find on earth. So you hate the Jews? I don't know any Jews. But I know that they're a breakaway byproduct of the Saturnian ball worshipping Black Rock, that black box. Black Rock, Mecca, Christian cross folded up into a box, that hexagonal storm, in the Star of David, that optical illusion of a cube, the hexagonal storm on the top of Saturn with the hexagonal eye at the top of it, or the eye at the top of the pyramid, or their pyramid scheme of Capricorn, the Dark Empire. And then in America was founded by King James, who was the head of the Satanist Church. The first law ever passed in America was giving King James and the Satanist Church authority over America and saying that the Revolutionary War was made up. It was bullshit. Then once King James owned everything, worshiping the goat, now that we have algorithms and search terms, they're trying to hide that from us by making LeBron James, King James, the goat. LeBron is the GOAT. It's a psyop to stop you from realizing that King James was the head of the Satanist Church, and the first law ever passed in this country was giving King James and the head of the Satanist Church authority over America after we lost the Revolutionary War. And they made us believe that we won. To keep you guys raping your daughters, inbred yokels producing 17 babies, and spreading your cancer against the natural order. Long enough for them to rape the world of resources and build robot vessels for their god. That's why Trump spent all that money on a ballroom where he put statues of Baal. And what can you do? But I don't know. But I'm going to get a mattress pad for my car. And I got this really cool... I've been praying for this coat for years. I've been begging for this exact coat for years. And I finally got it today. He put... Yeah, you can find... I think it's on his Twitter. When he posted a Christmas picture. Because Christmas is Baal's birthday. Baal is supposedly born December 25th in Capricorn season. And you can find that Trump posted on Twitter for Christmas a picture of a wreath in the ballroom. And then there's a statue of Baal above it. Like an ornament hanging on this mantelpiece of Baal. Your stinky hole quivers from my voice. That's cool. You should have woven it using your native superpowers. I don't know what that means. Angel eagle, come on down, hear my drum, because I need you now. They come to teach us, then they leave us to find some other souls to save. Angel eagle, come on down, hear my drum, because I need you now. People are very inbred, homie. Don't even know what tribe you're related to, plus your weird self-hate white guilt is gross. Why are you back? Why haven't you moved on with your life, man? The natives in North America didn't have horses until the Spanish brought them over. You know that, right? I'm just talking about the ancient Egyptians that were the most advanced civilization in the world's history, that built the pyramids as a black box and left all of it inaccessible until we reach a level of technology capable, assuming that with, you see how the star people just reconnected my phone? How, to people that watch all the live streams, when I talk about the ancient Egyptians and how they can control our technology, they make my live stream reconnect every time. On pretty much every time. Yeah, you can find the dimensions of the earth in the dimensions of the pyramids. Exactly where the pyramids are, you can understand exactly what the solar system looks like and exactly what the world is through mathematics. And the natives did create rodeos. Angel Eagle, come on down, hear my drum. Because when you realize that all warfare is based on deception, and that they eradicated the culture, they can take credit for vaquero boots. They can take credit for the tassels. Who's gonna stop them? When their kids don't even know their own language, who gonna stop them? They shit in blankets and gave it to them and they got sick and died. Who gonna stop them from saying, yeah, I made the cowboy hat. It's a bucket hat. Don't matter that the natives had hats out in the desert. I put a curl on it. I curled it up. It's mine. I did that. It don't matter that the native tribes have paintings of horses 20,000 years ago. I brought the horses. It don't matter that the natives fucking look like horses. I brought the horses. They're my horses. No, they did not. No way. They are trespassing. Those are my horses. I invented them. I fucked that mare when it was a baby. Because my wife was mad at me because I raped our daughter. Fuck it. That's my horse. Some natives look like horses, man. They got the horse face. We got the horse face. We're horse people. We're the chuds that live in the Grand Canyon. Nay, feed me an apple, man. You gonna do what to a horse? Nah, but some yokel. The one kid that tried to bully me in high school lost his virginity to his dog. Also, the speed of light in the pyramids. Yeah, you can find it all. And then under the pyramids, so the Masons that stole everything from the pyramids and are hiding it away, built these structures that have pillars that go to a flat plane with a triangle. And now that we have LiDAR, we're like, oh, this pyramid has a bunch of fucking pillars under it. Ain't that crazy? It's like they're keeping the truth from us and dividing and conquering and programming you all, but mostly whites. It's all whites. It's always whites. The rest is just a byproduct of whites. Would the native people be violent, fat? No. Would the black people be violent, fat? No. But they're like, there's nothing we can do. Our world is hopeless. We're trapped in a pile of shit with a bunch of parasites that believe they're better than us, and they torture us all day. The suffering and the trauma and the miseducation. What can they do? Are you the most important guy ever? I could be. I don't know. So how long ago were they built, bruh? Who knows? A long time ago. Definitely before the Saturnian Blackrock Jew matrix that created religions to divide and conquer, and now they create party systems and politics. Teams on Modern Warfare and Call of Duty Black Ops. To train an AI. I'm doing this so you can see that it's white people. I want the people that were here at the start to see the same behavior. Okay, 8202, are you black? I think you're the divisive one. No. I think you guys have been cut off from your connection to a higher frequency because you haven't honored nature, and nature has refused to give it to you. So you are trapped. Religion is just a fancy word for cults that were designed to control people. Yeah, but it was made by one specific cult that worships Baal and Saturn. The black rock that owns the world. Divided and conquered back in the day. And they used white people as a selectively bred, retard, programmed slave that was believed to be better than everybody else. Some King Joffreys, which is why George Martin threw King Joffrey in there, by the way. You know? A bunch of King Joffreys that go out and talk shit, and now the world doesn't go the way they want anymore, so they sit in these comment sections. They're taking over South Beach. And now we have Kyle Rittenhouse is going down there, and we're like, stop believing the propaganda. We are people too. I'm not a junkie. I'm smarter. And this is the way. Connect to AWA. Fuck a blue Catwoman. What's your favorite Fortnite skin? Gotta be a blue Catwoman that's twice my size. Favorite Fortnite skin? Blue Catwoman from Pandora. Maybe Peter Griffin. Alright. I have to go. Goodbye, everybody. Have fun with your miserable life.